On today's podcast, I want to talk about how can we live in peace when we are surrounded by people that have different opinions, different likes, dislikes, you name it. First of all, let me tell you a short little story. We have 5 children. We have a blended family. And those kids, I tell you, you know how kids are. When they're young, they agree to everything that you give them. Well, they don't know the difference, right? They don't know to say, no, I don't like that. I don't want that. They liked the clothes that we wear, that we bought for them. They liked, the events that we chose for them to do. They liked the food that we gave them. We were all in agreement. But then came the teenage years. Me personally, I got to the point where there was so much disagreement. I just decided that, you know what? You take the money and we will go shopping, and this is your limit. And if your money can buy what it is that you want, then you take it. Because I want peace in this house. Well, today I want to go a little bit further. When we talk about how do we live at peace, how do we live in existence in peace, whether it be in our families or our communities, and eventually in our Hello, world. And welcome to my channel. My name is Dewana Carl, and I am the host of A Weary She Encourages. A Weary She Encourages is a channel that focuses on keeping us encouraged as we face difficult days, trying to stay sane in an insane world. One of the things that I believe one of the things that I think that we have to consider is that people have core beliefs. They have core beliefs, and those core beliefs are those things that many of us are willing to die for. We're going to believe that as long as we live until we die. It's what we believe. It's the thing that we hold close to our hearts. And let's be honest, one of those core beliefs is our faiths. We all have different faiths. We're going to die for what we believe in. We're going to die for what some of us we're going to argue you down. We're going to say, look, this is what I believe in. I'm standing 10 toes down. This is what I believe in. This is how I'm going to live my life. This is going to be the routine of my life. And then there's those things as it relates to parenting. We don't compromise about the way we're going to parent our children. What they will see, what they will be exposed to. We're very particular. Many of us are very particular, and that's okay. And then we're going to talk about we are different about our diets. Some of us eat meat, others of us don't eat meat. Some of us only eat fish. For many of us, that is a core belief. What about dating and the way who we are committed to dating? Some of us have core beliefs as it relates to being heterosexual or homosexual, or, will I have sex before I marry, or will I wait until after I marry? And those are those things. And how about those personal opinions? Now, we got our beliefs, but we have our personal opinions. And sometimes those personal opinions, baby, look, they may change, but in that moment, for some of us, we're holding on to it. How about, when it comes to our political ideas about, whether I'm a Democrat, let's look back at the presidential election here in the United States or across the world. People are serious about their opinions as it relates to these things. But I think that it is possible, despite all of that, to live in peace with people in spite of our core beliefs or those opinions that we hold on to so dearly. And there are 8 things that I think that will be helpful, and I think that it's something that will be valuable to all of us. Number 1, I think that we can, amongst us as Christians, we have been told we believe that God has called us to share our faith. Where the problem lies, though, is that sometimes There are those of us that will share our faith, but with the intent to change people, change their belief. And might I add that we can't change anybody. We can only share our knowledge, what we believe to be the truth. We can only share it. We can't make anybody change. We can only share. And I think that when we keep that in mind, it's helpful as it relates to living in peace in our world. Number two, I think that when we find that we have differences, maybe it's something that you don't understand. But even if you don't agree, we need to withhold those negative comments that we have. I think that, sometimes we're careless with our words. In my generation, I'm in my 50s, and we've been accused of being very closed-minded. And I think that we should be very careful about making those negative comments about things that we frankly do not understand. And maybe we don't share the same conviction, the same opinion, but we can keep those negative comments to ourselves. Number three, I think that if we stay humble, choose to stay humble and keep a mindset that we are all learning. I don't care how much knowledge you have and how great your revelation is. The one thing I know for sure, none of us on this earth could create the earth that we live in. So I think that when we keep an attitude of humility and an attitude of I am willing to learn, it goes a long ways. That was number three. And number four is seek to build off of what we see is the same. I believe that what's the same amongst all of us, whether we're talking about Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, um, you name it. I don't know all of them because there are many, but I think that what's the same about us is that we all want good relationships. We all want healthy families. And that's the same. And I think that when we capitalize on what's the same rather than what's different, then we can truly be able to go through life and live together in peace. Number five is when you don't know something about somebody or you disagree, that we choose to listen. Sometimes that we are too quick to jump into a thing and defend ourselves or say what we don't believe rather than just listen. It makes a long ways. Even if you want to share your opinion about it, be willing to listen. And I believe that when we fall in love more into what the other person is saying versus what we're saying, it makes a difference because if anything, it shows that you care. It shows that you care. Number six, when you don't know, be willing to ask questions. But when you ask those questions, try not to be judgmental or condescending. I think an example would be I remember as a child, and it still left a mark on me. When I was in high school, a young man said to me, and he didn't look like me, he assumed that, oh, what are you all doing for Christmas? I know. Y'all gonna have y'all some fried chicken and watermelon. But I can say that offended me deeply. And it took me years to get to the point that maybe that was just being funny on his part. But it was so offensive. Maybe if he would have asked me the question in a different kind of way and said something like, well, what is your favorite meal? Since he didn't know, right? So I think that's another way that we can deal with, that thing. And then lastly is this. When we encounter those people that have negative beliefs, really negative beliefs, negative opinions. We have to handle it with a whole lot of care, such as racism. You know, all I can say is we handle it with care. And one of the things that we have been encouraged and commanded by the Lord is that we pray for our enemies and we pray for those who despitefully use us. The thing about it is when something is a belief for a person, you can't change them. We are not, I can hopefully give you a persuasive, but at the end of the day, I can't change you. I can pray for you and believe that supernaturally that maybe you'll come up on somebody that you assumed is one way when really they're not that way, and it'll change your mindset. And so that's always the hope. And the last thing I will say is that whatever you do, always walk in love. Always walk in love. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love doesn't keep a record of wrong. I think in this way, we can live in peace in the world that we live in. There is so much chaos that's going on in this world. And there are things that we can't control, but we can control how we respond. We can control how we respond. And I think that if we use some of these things that I've shared with you today in our everyday lives, especially when we encounter people that are somewhat different from us, it will help and I think it will ease a lot of the tension that we find in our world today. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, would you do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe? I look forward to seeing you again. And in the meantime, have a great or wearying kind of day. Now, what do I mean by that? Whatever you do, stay encouraged and keep going. Don't ever, and I mean ever, give up hope. See you next time.